Let me start with something most men don't want to hear. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends. Not your family. Not the system. Not society. If you're waiting for motivation, connections, money, or encouragement before you start building your life, you've already lost. That's the uncomfortable truth. Most men grow up believing success comes after support, after approval, after someone notices their potential. But real life doesn't work like that. Real life rewards the men who move first, even when nobody is clapping. And here's the controversial part. If you have zero support, you're not unlucky. You're being trained. Because when you succeed without help, you don't become dependent. You become dangerous in the best way possible. Self-reliant, disciplined, and mentally unbreakable. This video is for the man who feels invisible. The man whose messages go unanswered. The man who has ideas but no backing. The man who wakes up every day carrying pressure alone. If that's you, good. You're exactly who this message is for. Let's be honest for a moment. Most men fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack structure. They drift. They complain. They wait for perfect conditions. They spend years explaining why life is hard instead of learning how to win in hard conditions. You don't need sympathy. You need strategy. Success with zero support isn't about luck. It's about learning how to operate when nobody believes in you, including sometimes yourself. See, the world doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. You can struggle silently for years and nobody will care. But the moment you start producing outcomes, people suddenly show interest. That's not cruel. That's reality. So stop expecting applause during the building phase. Men who rise from nothing understand something early. Loneliness is part of the process. There will be long nights, quiet mornings, days where you question everything, moments where quitting feels logical. And during those moments, you discover who you really are. Because when there's no audience, no encouragement, no safety net, whatever you do next comes purely from character. That's where real strength is built. Let me say something that might upset you. Your environment does not care about your dreams. Your background does not care about your potential. Your past mistakes do not care about your future plans. Only your actions matter. A lot of men waste energy blaming their parents, their city, their economy, or their childhood. But blame doesn't move you forward. Responsibility does. You may not be responsible for where you started, but you are responsible for where you end up. And that's power. Zero support forces you to become your own coach, your own motivation, your own accountability partner. You learn to wake yourself up. You learn to push yourself. You learn to solve problems instead of outsourcing them. It's painful, but it's priceless. Most men are addicted to comfort. They want success with company, growth with validation, and progress with permission. But the men who actually make it learn to operate in silence. They build when nobody's watching. They study when nobody's praising. They improve when nobody notices. That's why they rise. Understand this. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. Readiness comes after action, not before it. You don't need confidence to start. You don't need clarity to begin. You don't need support to move. You move first. Everything else follows. This video isn't about hustle slogans or empty motivation. It's about practical mental shifts every man must make when he realizes he's on his own. Because here's the reality. Some men are born into opportunity. Some men inherit networks. Some men have mentors guiding every step. And some men have nothing. No connections. No guidance. No backup plan. Just pressure. If you're that man, stop seeing it as a disadvantage. It's your edge. When you succeed alone, you develop resilience most people never touch. You learn discipline instead of dependency. You gain clarity instead of comfort. You build grit instead of excuses. And once you've learned how to survive without support, you become unstoppable with it. So if life has isolated you, stripped away your safety nets, and forced you to stand on your own, congratulations. You've been selected for a harder path. But harder paths create harder men. And hard men shape the world. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to succeed when nobody is backing you, how to build momentum from zero, how to stay focused when motivation disappears, and how to turn isolation into strength. If you're ready to stop waiting and start becoming, let's begin. 1. Build internal discipline before external success. Let's start with the foundation. When you have zero support, discipline is not optional. It is survival. Most men think success starts with money, connections, or confidence. It doesn't. It starts with control. Control over your time, your habits, your emotions, and your excuses. Without discipline, talent wastes itself. Without discipline, motivation fades. Without discipline, every setback feels personal. You don't need hype. You need structure. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Nobody is coming to organize your life for you. If you don't wake yourself up, nobody will. If you don't push yourself, nobody cares. If you don't build routines, chaos becomes your default. Internal discipline means doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Not when you're inspired. Not when life is calm. Not when things are going well. Especially when they aren't. This is where most men fail. They wait for the right mood. They wait for energy. They wait for things to feel easier. But disciplined men move first and let their emotions catch up later. You train yourself to act, not react. Think about it. When there's no support, there's also no pressure from outside. No boss watching. No mentor checking in. No friends holding you accountable. That means the only force pushing you forward must come from inside. And that's powerful. Internal discipline is built through small daily actions that compound over time. You wake up when you said you would. You work even when nobody sees it. You finish tasks even when they feel boring. You keep promises to yourself. These things sound simple. They are not easy. But this is how you separate yourself from the average man. Most men live emotionally. They work when they feel motivated and rest when they feel tired. Disciplined men live intentionally. They work because it's scheduled. They improve because it's required. They rest because it's planned. There's a big difference. If your life has no structure, your future will be unstable. You don't need a perfect routine. You need a consistent one. Wake up at the same time. Block time for learning. Block time for work. Block time for fitness or movement. Block time for reflection. Simple systems beat big dreams. Here's something else men need to understand. Discipline protects you from self-sabotage. When you're alone, your mind becomes your biggest enemy. Doubt gets louder. Laziness becomes tempting. Distractions feel comforting. Discipline gives you boundaries. It tells you when to stop scrolling. It tells you when to go to sleep. It tells you when to get back to work. Without it, your environment controls you. With it, you control your environment. Let me give you a real-life situation. Imagine a man who wants to change his life but has no money, no guidance, and no one encouraging him. He wakes up late most days, spends hours on his phone, and tells himself he'll start tomorrow. One day, he decides something has to change. He starts waking up 1 hour earlier. No magic, no motivation speech, just an alarm. He uses that hour to learn a skill online. Writing, editing, coding, design, anything valuable. After work, instead of wasting the evening, he studies again for 30 minutes. He starts walking or exercising 3 times a week. He keeps a small notebook where he writes daily goals. Nothing dramatic. But after 3 months, he knows more than he did before. He feels stronger. His mind is sharper. He has proof that he can keep promises to himself. After 6 months, opportunities start appearing. Not because the world changed, because he did. That's discipline at work. Small actions. Daily. Boring. Powerful. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your habits. Another thing, discipline teaches patience. Men who grow without support learn to delay pleasure. They stop chasing quick wins. They focus on long-term progress. They understand that building something real takes time. And patience is a weapon. Because while others quit after a few weeks, you keep going. While others complain about results, you improve your process. While others look for shortcuts, you master fundamentals. This is how you win quietly. Remember this. Your future is built in private. No audience. No validation. Just repetition. If you can master yourself when nobody is watching, life becomes easier when everybody is. This is where success actually starts, not outside you, but inside you. 2. Learn to move without validation. This part is hard for most men, because deep down, every man wants to feel seen, appreciated, respected. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have zero support, waiting for validation becomes dangerous. It slows you down. It makes you second-guess yourself. It teaches you to depend on outside approval instead of internal conviction. And let's be real, many of you already know what this feels like. You share an idea and people don't react. You post something and it gets ignored. You tell someone your plans and they change the subject. You work quietly and nobody notices. At first, it hurts. Then it confuses you. Eventually, if you're not careful, it discourages you. A lot of men quit right here. They take silence personally. They assume invisibility means failure. They start believing their effort doesn't matter because nobody acknowledges it. But here's what you need to understand. Silence is not rejection. Silence is training. The world doesn't reward potential. It responds to proof. Nobody claps for preparation. They clap for results. So if you're building something right now and nobody cares, that's normal. That's how it always starts. You're not behind. You're early. Learning to move without validation means learning to operate without emotional feedback. It means showing up even when nobody is watching. It means continuing even when encouragement is absent. That's maturity. Most men are emotionally dependent. They feel energized by praise and drained by criticism. Their progress rises and falls based on other people's reactions. You can't afford that. When you're alone, you have to become internally driven. Your standards must come from within. Your momentum must be self-generated. You wake up because it's time to wake up. You work because it's time to work, not because someone cheered you on. You already know what it feels like to be overlooked, to be the one who always listens but isn't heard, to be the one who supports others but receives nothing back, to feel like you're carrying weight nobody sees. That's exactly why this lesson matters. If you keep looking outward for motivation, you'll stay stuck. Men who succeed with zero support learn to validate themselves. They track their own progress. They recognize their own growth. They celebrate small wins privately. They don't need likes, comments, or approval to stay consistent. And that's a superpower. Because when validation disappears, most people stop. When validation disappears, disciplined men continue. There's also something else nobody talks about. Moving without validation teaches emotional control. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop explaining yourself to everyone. You stop announcing your plans. You become quieter, sharper, more focused. You learn to protect your energy instead of giving it away to people who don't understand your vision. This is when you start moving differently. You don't overshare. You don't seek permission. You don't wait for agreement. You just execute. That's growth. A lot of men feel frustrated because they're surrounded by people who don't understand their goals. Their friends are comfortable. Their family is cautious. Their environment is small-minded. So every time they try to improve, they feel alone. Good. That loneliness is shaping you. It forces you to think independently. It forces you to develop resilience. It forces you to stop outsourcing belief. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. You just need to stay on it. Let's be honest. If success were comfortable, everyone would have it. But success requires doing things that look strange at first. Waking up earlier than others. Saying no to distractions. Choosing growth over entertainment. Staying consistent when motivation fades. People won't support what they don't understand. They'll understand later. Right now, your job isn't to convince anyone. Your job is to build. And yes, there will be days when you feel tired, unnoticed, and unsure. Days when you question if it's worth it. Days when quitting feels easier. That's part of becoming stronger. You don't push through because it feels good. You push through because your future depends on it. Learning to move without validation changes how you carry yourself. You stop seeking approval. You start trusting your process. You develop quiet confidence. And once you master that, nobody can slow you down. Because you're no longer powered by attention. You're powered by purpose. 3. Stop romanticizing struggle. Start building value. Now we need to talk honestly. A lot of men love talking about how hard their life is. They wear struggle like a badge of honor. They tell stories about being broke, ignored, or misunderstood. They repeat the same problems year after year and call it the grind. That's not strength. That's stagnation. Struggle is not impressive. Progress is. Being broke is not noble. Becoming capable is. Suffering without improvement is not character building. It's wasted time. This is where many men get stuck. They confuse endurance with growth. They think surviving is the same as advancing. It's not. Let me say something that might hit close to home. If your situation hasn't changed in years, it's not bad luck anymore. It's bad habits. Harsh? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Too many men are comfortable being uncomfortable. They complain about money but don't learn skills. They hate their job but don't upgrade themselves. They feel disrespected but don't become more valuable. They want better outcomes without becoming better men. That doesn't work. The world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards usefulness. You don't rise because you're tired. You rise because you bring value. Value is what creates options. Value is what attracts opportunity. Value is what gives you leverage. And here's the part most men avoid. Nobody owes you recognition just because you're trying. Nobody owes you respect because life is hard. Nobody owes you success because you want it. You earn everything. That means learning skills that people actually need. That means improving how you communicate. That means taking your health seriously. That means sharpening your mind. That means becoming reliable. Men who succeed with zero support understand this early. They stop focusing on their pain and start focusing on their competence. They don't just survive, they evolve. You can't stay the same man and expect a different future. Some of you are still moving like boys, sleeping late, scrolling endlessly, avoiding hard work, chasing distractions, making excuses. Then you wonder why nothing changes. Wake up. Your habits are building your future, whether you're paying attention or not. Every hour you waste is a vote for the life you say you don't want. Every day you delay growth, someone else gets ahead. Time doesn't care about your emotions. It keeps moving. Another hard truth. Nobody is impressed by potential. People care about results. You can talk about what you're going to do for years, but until you produce something real, it means nothing. Men who rise stop announcing plans and start showing proof. They build quietly. They sharpen themselves daily. They stop waiting for the perfect moment. They move. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It requires discipline. It requires sacrifice. It requires saying no to easy pleasures. But that's the price. You don't get a strong life with weak habits. You don't get respect while avoiding responsibility. You don't get freedom without self-control. If you're tired of being overlooked, become undeniable. If you're tired of struggling, become skilled. If you're tired of being average, stop living average days. This isn't about becoming arrogant. It's about becoming capable. There's also something men need to hear. Stop blaming everyone else. Stop blaming your upbringing. Stop blaming your location. Stop blaming your past. Yes, life may have been unfair. Yes, you may have started with less, but staying stuck is a choice. At some point, responsibility becomes yours. Powerful men don't waste energy on complaints. They invest energy into improvement. They ask better questions. What can I learn? What can I build? What can I fix? What can I master? That mindset changes everything. You don't need to become perfect. You need to become consistent. You don't need overnight success. You need daily progress. And you don't need support to start becoming valuable. You just need honesty with yourself. Because the moment you stop romanticizing struggle and start building real ability, your life begins to shift. Not instantly, not magically, but steadily. And steady growth beats emotional motivation every time. This is your wake-up call. No one is coming. So become the man your future depends on. I'm going to end this with something very controversial. If nobody supports you, it's probably because you haven't made yourself necessary yet. Not because you're worthless. Not because the world is evil. Not because life is unfair, but because people follow strength, not struggle. That sense alone makes many men uncomfortable. We've been taught that effort should automatically earn respect, that trying hard should attract help, that being a good guy should open doors. That's not how reality works. People support momentum. People invest in competence. People align with men who are moving forward. So if you feel invisible right now, don't take it as an insult. Take it as feedback. It means you're still in the building phase. And the building phase is always lonely. Here's what most men don't realize. Success doesn't start with recognition. Recognition comes after success. First you struggle in silence. Then you grow quietly. Then one day people suddenly act like they believed in you all along. That's the pattern. Every man who rises goes through a season where nobody cares. That season exists for a reason. It forces you to become disciplined. It forces you to develop skill. It forces you to stop relying on validation. It forces you to grow mentally. Without that pressure, you'd stay comfortable. And comfort never creates strong men. If you made it this far in the video, you already know something inside you wants more. More control. More respect. More direction. More purpose. But wanting more isn't enough. You have to become more. You don't get a better life by wishing. You get it by changing how you spend your days. You get it by learning when others are resting. You get it by improving while others are distracted. You get it by choosing discipline when motivation disappears. Nobody talks about how boring success really is. It's repetition. It's showing up. It's doing small things correctly for a long time. There's no shortcut around that. And here's another uncomfortable truth. Some men will watch videos like this and feel inspired for 10 minutes. Then they'll go right back to old habits. Others will feel uncomfortable, challenged, even offended. And those are the ones who actually change. Which one are you? Because information doesn't transform you. Action does. You don't need to do everything at once. Just start. Wake up earlier. Cut one bad habit. Learn one useful skill. Improve one area of your life. Then repeat tomorrow. That's how momentum is built. Not through massive breakthroughs. Through small, consistent wins. Let me tell you something personal, man to man. If you feel like you're walking alone right now, you're not broken. You're becoming. This stage hurts because it's shaping you. One day you'll look back and realize this quiet season made you stronger than comfort ever could. And I want you to understand something important. I'm not above you. I'm walking this path too. I know what it feels like to be misunderstood, to carry pressure quietly, to build with limited resources, to feel like you're giving more than you're receiving. That's why I speak directly to you. Because this isn't about motivation. It's about evolution. So here's what I want from you. If this message connected with you, go to the comments and tell me your story. Tell me where you're struggling. Tell me what you're building. Tell me what you're trying to escape or achieve. I read them, and I reach out when I can. We're building something here. Not just views, but men who refuse to stay stuck. Men who take responsibility. Men who grow even when nobody is watching. Men who turn isolation into strength. And remember this. You don't need support to start. You need courage. You don't need permission to improve. You need discipline. And you don't need the world to believe in you. You just need to stop doubting yourself. Because once you learn how to succeed with zero support, nothing can stop you.